What's up, everyone? We've got a new year, new season of the Yugioh show. Good to be back. We've got a lot of Yugioh stuff to talk about this week. It's been a very, very interesting month or so. I don't know how over Christmas it's like so much stuff has happened between like now and then, but yeah, there's just so much to talk about. So what are we going to get into first? What's going to be our first topic, Dan? I know you've got some spicy things you want to discuss.
I think we have to address the elephant in the room, or should I say the bonfire in the room. That is Millenia. What is going on with that set, do you think?
Yeah, so I guess for some context, there's kind of two steps to it, where it's like the first side is that obviously Bonfire pre-sale prices are absolutely crazy. They're sitting at like 80 quid. And if you go on eBay, in the UK at least, I don't know how it's for America and other regions, but in the UK, if you go on eBay, you won't even find a Bonfire. There's none on there. So you have to, and it's like the pre-sale prices, I think, were like £75 minimum. And they were selling
it that?
Yeah, and as in it's sold out. You can't even pre-order. That's how much is sold out. Because I don't think Millenia is out yet, is it? Or did it just
next week?
Yeah, so it comes out next week, and pre-order is sold out. That's which is mad. So yeah, what are we thinking about that, guys?
It's a lot, man. Transaction rollback's a bit the same though, isn't it? I know it's not as generic, but
how much is that? I know that card is cracked as well. Yeah, I was looking at a lot of the nonsense that card does.
I've seen it float around 40.
Gee, that card, by the way, is absolutely ridiculous. I saw someone do this on DB Grinder's channel. Obviously, you can use this card with evenly matched. So this guy was playing Labyrinth, and he just transaction rollback. He used transaction rollback with evenly matched with no cards on the board in Labyrinth. So his opponent just had to banish everything face down.
Ooh.
Oh, wait! I forgot the worst part. Not during the battle phase.
Oh yeah, because of it copies the effect.
Yeah.
I was like, this is stupid. I was like, this is ridiculous. Like,
it's crackers.
Yeah, it was mad.
That's just giving me an epiphany. I'm like, that works. That's not nice.
I was so baffled as well. DB Grinder was explaining it, and I was like, no, maybe the ruling's wrong. I was like, no. His opponent just scooped, because what do you do after you had to banish your whole like field face down? But yeah, that card is cracked.
Like that, man.
Yeah, I'm not.
Do you know what the maddest thing right there is though? Like, we've just mentioned 50% of the cards that make Millenia good.
yeah, which is nice.
That's mad.
It's very true, because if you look at that set normally, you have to really investigate that set to actually find the good cards, because most of the cards are absolute dog in that set.
Yeah, and all the good ones happen to be ultra rare.
Yeah. Do you know what? I think it's a shame, because they're printing these cards, and like, I feel like that they would be interesting to use, but like, where are you using them? Like, you're not taking them to locals because you are getting clapped. So like, there's no real alternative format to you experience them in. So then why print them? And it's I just don't get it. It blows my mind, especially when you look at some of the fluff that comes out in the other sets. You're just like, where can I use this? Apart from on a bonfire. So I don't know.
I suppose if they push that Rivalry of Warlords format, then maybe, but isn't the whole thing with that they give you a pre-constructed deck?
Yeah.
So I suppose they could make those pre-constructed decks, but I mean, other than that, like, yeah, I suppose you have to go into those locals that have their own custom ban lists and things like that. It is a bit of a shame, because as a bit of a Yu-Gi boomer, I find the Flame Swordsman cards interesting, but I think they're just going to be a bit of an infinite oval, like extra toy, and that'll be it. Same with like the Earth cards. I've seen what people shove those in as a synchro engine in Runic. Like, Runic didn't have enough of them.
Yeah,
you got a point.
Yeah. But one thing I'd say is, actually, I do have a bone to pick with one person. Not a bone, but I didn't agree with something they said, which is Paul from Team APS. He made a comment basically saying that that vendors and players need to be better with the with the secondary market, and that he was basically saying that we don't have to set the prices where they are. And it rubbed me the wrong way, just because I think it's intellectually dishonest. I think the secondary market is how it is because of the primary market. Bonfires aren't £80 for Magic. They're £80 because we know it's going to be a cracked card. it's ultra rare, so we already know the rarity, and history has shown us that Konami will short print this card. If vendors just set Bonfires at £30, they'll just end up losing money because no one's going to buy the other cards because they're all crap, and then they're going to get barely any Bonfires, so they'll just end up losing money. So it's like, when he said that, I thought it was a bit unfair just because it's like, I don't think, like, don't get me wrong, I do think vendors are out to make money, but I actually don't think that's the place where people are scalping and stuff. Like when a vendor sets a card at a really high pre-sale, I think the rule always is don't buy pre-sale anyway. But if you choose to buy it, it's not really the vendor's fault that you chose to buy Bonfire at 80 and then it dips down to 50 or dips down to 60. That's your choice. And the reason why the vendors do that is because Konami will short print Bonfire. Like, I'm so sure it will come out and they'll be like, how many ultras is there in a set? There's like, I don't know, let's say there's like 10 ultras. And one of the you're 11, not going to get
11 ultras.
There's not there's 11 ultras, so there's not going to be like a 9%. I think it's about 9%. There's not going to be like a 9% chance of getting Bonfire. There's going to be like a 3% chance of getting Bonfire, and then the rest, you're going to most of the time get the other crappy ones. So yeah, it's really, for me, it is down to Konami. Konami needs to just change how they handle sets, and they need to stop filling cards with absolutely trash cards. Because when you look at the ultras, they are so bad, man. There's like 3 ultras that are good. There's like Thrust, Rollback, Bonfire. Every other ultra, I don't.
Infection Buzz King is interesting.
It's an interesting card, but realistically speaking, rank 8s haven't been relevant for so long that
I suppose with the horror stuff coming back in, it's one to keep an eye on.
It's like I'm thinking of, like, if I was playing Horus, there's no, like, this is like a really slow DD Crow. And that's about it. Like, I'm trying to think of, it's a really slow DD Crow, and it's
I suppose it does provide you with knowledge, though, right?
But it does, but you get what I mean in that if I'm playing Horus and I could make a rank 8, there are so many cards I'd make before I make this. And so if I pull Infection Buzz King, I'm not going to be very happy. Like when I look at ultras. Yeah, and that's the problem. It's like they fill the deck, they fill the set with just so much shit. Like, and then as everyone said, why the heck did they reprint the entirety of all guys? Like, what the heck?
The reprints of the Supreme King stuff I understand because of the new support in Age of Overlord for that archetype. Even Rescue Ace to a degree, I can be like,
do you know what? I don't. I only agree with the big ones. I agree with the expensive ones, but reprinting all the spells and traps made no sense. I guess just because all the spells and traps were cheap already, and then they reprinted them as rares,
which isn't even rarity bump, really.
This is exactly like basically quantifying what you just said, because if you go and look at what's the level 3 Rescue Ace monster, Fabs?
Impulse.
Yeah, he's gone up. He's like
he's missing, isn't it?
He's gone up because now he's the supply and demand, isn't it?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's supply and demand, yeah, and Konami are in control of the supply, so there's obviously a demand for it, but they know that they can effectively control the prices by shorting the supply. Look at that, that's ridiculous. Like,
Impulse is just 7-10. This is crazy.
This is what I'm saying, and like, this is why Yu-Gi-Oh players are saying it's expensive, because access to it is very acutely controlled. Do you get what I mean? So like, they know they're being throttled and they can't do anything about it. And I think it was Solemn Yugioh. He made a very pertinent point. People at the top of the game have access to all the cards, so it's not affecting them. It's affecting everybody below them who potentially want to be competitive, or people who just see those cards as fun and just can't access them. Do you know what I mean? So then that's where the problem is, because those are the players that are buying like sealed products. I can't imagine Joshua Smith and all those other guys are going out and buying boxes and boxes. They're just going to get the cards that they need and go about their business.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, do you think Payne 96 is happy about how much he's going to have to pay for Bonfires? No way. Which is a shame. He should be sent a playset of them, truly. But that's by the by, innit? Shout out to Payne.
This is the other problem as well. It's flipping Bonfire. Like, I don't want to spend £80 on a pyro searcher. Like, what the flip? Like,
yeah, it is wild. I think there are interesting cards in this set, like the Harmonic Synchro Fusion is a card that is interesting but probably won't see play.
No. Yeah, it's a card that has a lot of potential. The problem is there's just not that many cards that search it. If there was more cards, but right now I think it's the Earthbound card that searches in some Predator Plants. Yeah.
Oh, and Albert Lennox.
Oh, and then a deck that can't deck that can't synchro summon as well. But I guess you could probably use this in that because special summons a synchro monster, doesn't it? Let's see.
You can, but branded is so like solved at this point. I think is it.
Yeah, but we already know. Yeah, the best way I've been telling one of our friends plays called Yusuf. Shout out Yusuf, who plays branded. I've been telling him for a while, just play Gimmick Puppet, bro. He refuses to play it in branded. And it's very good for him. But I was like, why isn't Gimmick Puppet in your deck? I keep telling him I'm going to sneak it into his deck one day because, like I don't want to get Gimmick locked, but it's just there's no reason why you shouldn't be playing the game. It's just stupid.
Yeah, but going back to the set, I do want to touch on that thing that Paul said because from the perspective of a vendor, why like you said, Fabs, like why would you not like put these cards at expensive money? You're losing money. And like it sucks, but unfortunately, like when you're a business, that is what you want in it. But from a player perspective, it's awful, especially if you're a player who is competitive but isn't fortunate enough to either have people to borrow cards off, like a testing circle or a sponsor or anything like that. Like it stings, to be honest. And you know, we had this thing when Little Knight came out. We've had this now. Bonfire's come out. I'm sure that we'll have it in Nightmare when Populous comes out. It's a shame. And Andre said something before we started recording that I thought was interesting. It creates a lot of, I think, player base fatigue, to be honest, because not only is this expensive for the good cards that are in it, there's a lot of product coming out in the first quarter of 2024, and quite a lot of it is actually quite relevant. There's a lot of relevant cards in Phantom Nightmare. There's stuff that's the full set hasn't been revealed as of yet, but Legacy of Destruction is looking to have some very interesting cards in it as well.
When is that actually?
Oh, it's not been fully released in the OCG. It's not out for a while.
So it'll be like mid to end of the year then, probably.
No, probably first quarter, because I think we're only one set in front of the OCG
actually,
now.
No, you are 100% right. You're right. April 26th.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Gosh, that is soon. I need to start looking at this set.
We're about on track for a structure deck as well. I don't know. It just seems like a really weird point in the year when everyone's skint in January to be like, right, okay, it's time for us to eat all your money.
Yeah. And I'd even say, like, so for example, like, even for me, like, as you guys know, so I've been really into Rescues. I've been going on an improvement journey in the game. And even for me, it's just not a reasonable amount of money to spend. Like, I don't want to drop £300 on Bonfires. Well, not 300, but I don't want to drop like £150 on Bonfires and then immediately next month now drop another £200 on random Snake Eye and Fire King cards. To me, it's not practical. So, like, for example, for me, my short-term plan is I'm just going to carry on playing regular Rescues because, like, I'm not going to a big event. Why am I spending that much money on cards that are almost certainly not going to hold the value well as well? It's just, it's really not reasonable.
I was gonna say it's mad as well. Like, you just don't know what's gonna happen in the future. Like, Konami have got the monopoly and everything, and at any point they could just reprint something. Like, and all that investment, you feel like it's lost because you
100%
get something out of it. Like, the Rescue Ace cards was a bit of a shock to me, and I'm just like, wow. All those people that were shifting them on the trading group are just like, whew.
Feeling good.
That's inflation at its best, isn't it? So
because I thought the Rescues cards would lose value, but I thought it would have come from them being banned. I didn't think they were going to get randomly reprinted on Razor Millenia. I guess it's like, yes, it's a year after and it's a very popular deck, but still it feels quite strong to just see. But because it's funny that you see Konami do it this time, but it's like a lot of times they don't. They won't randomly reprint like this when they should have done it, but then they chose to do it this time. And it's funny they chose to do it with Rescues, but then it's like there's other random staples that don't get reprinted. Like even Thrust Frost, Rescues, Bonfire, blah blah, all being chucked into Maze Millenia really feels like them trying to force us to buy this set and pull Earthbound cards. That's what it feels like.
I think that's one of the biggest things I've heard from talking to people about this set. It seems like there's a lot of missed potential. You know, you could have had Pearly cards in here. You could have had super rare upgrades for archetypes that have received support, like the Unchained cards. You could have had some better OCG imports. Like, it didn't have to be just this pap.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
That is the exact word for it. Just let's say it's just
let's call a spade, innit? Like 75% of these cards ain't gonna see play.
Yeah, and guys, but I test most decks. Like, you may not, I actually do test most decks. The Earthbound cards are not playable. Trust me. I like Earthbound Immortals. I love the Nazca Lines. I think that whole stuff there's this series. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of it. Anthony Horowitz did a book series ages ago called The Power of Five. I don't know if you guys have ever read it.
I'm familiar with the author.
But yeah, so one of the books, the second book in the series, they go really deep into the Nazca Lines as part of the like story, and it's cool. So like I've been really interested in Earthbound Immortals like since I discovered them. Cards are trash, man. It's like, why did you even release this? Like, I was looking at it, it's like, oh, this is so cool. Then it's like you can't even play that deck uses harmonic synchrofusion, for example, and it's like you can't even play it because, and it's the frustration. It's like, why did they even release this? Because it's like, as someone who wants to play Earthbound Immortals, I can't even play it in a casual format because most of the hands you draw, you can't do anything. You normal summon a card and then you pass, and it's like, oh, yeah, I don't understand. I really don't understand. But I guess, should we move on to talking about Phantom Nightmare and some of the stuff coming out in that?
Oh, yes. I'm very excited for Phantom Nightmare.
Yeah. And well, just as a kind of follow-on from last topic, though, I'll say that even Phantom Nightmare, which has a few good cards in it, this is still, technically speaking, a crap set. There's no good set in Yu-Gi-Oh!
You're wrong.
No, like if you look at Phantom Nightmare, 60% of the cards that come out in Phantom Nightmare are not good cards. Do you realize?
This comes in.
You could say that about
what Dad's gonna say. Go on, Dad.
No. I'll let Fab say his piece in it.
But it's just genuinely like most of the cards are bad. It's just that, for example, in this set, there's like 20 good cards instead of usual when we have like 5 good cards. If you actually look at Phantom Nightmare, most of the cards are bad. Yeah, like Fluffly Luff. Do you think this card is good? Yeah, I'll bet money now this card is trash. I can bet 100 quid now. I know this card is trash. Yeah. So it's like, if Phantom Nightmare is a good set compared to most Yu-Gi-Oh sets, but I mean, in terms of the value we get in our sets in general, is my point. It's still a bad set.
It does feel like with value of sets, it does feel like it's all or nothing. Like when you look at Age of Overlord, that set is insane for value if you pull like good from it. There's one bad secret in there.
Exactly, but it's like, that's my point. Age of Overlord, if you pull good, it's a good set.
Yeah.
But you can pull a secret in Age of Overlord and be very unhappy. Most of the time you pull a secret, you'll be very unhappy with this set.
Nah, let's pull up the secret rares. I think there's probably like two of them are like not bangers.
So you've got TG is bad, Samsara is not good, the Abel Star is
not bad though.
Samsara is not good. Like you telling me you'd be happy with a Samsara?
I didn't say that I wouldn't be happy.
Even a Millenia player wouldn't be happy with a Samsara. They don't even want that card, man.
I'd be more happy with a Samsara than a TG card.
The Black Witch is good. Flamberge Dragon, I'm actually going to say this is bad because when this came out, you wouldn't have wanted Flamberge Dragon at all. You definitely wouldn't have wanted it.
But now
it's good. But when it came out, so it's like, at most, I'll say that's average. Imseti is good. Duamtef is bad. Arius is average. SP is good.
Oh, is Arius a secret? I didn't even realize.
Arius is a secret. SP is good. Limited removal is bad. Wanted is good. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Half the secrets.
That's 50%.
But that's my point.
Half
the secrets. But you have to remember, these are the secrets.
True. I mean, you've got Typhon as an ultra. You've got Typhon as an ultra, and with the value of Typhon, I'd be happy to call that an honorary secret in terms of the value.
If we look at the ultras as well, you don't want ultras over.
I mean, yeah, you are right.
And then, do you know what's even worse? It's the short printing thing where it's like you're not the pull rates. I've got a lot of TG Rockets. I've got TG Rocket Salamander on my desk right now. Do you know how many TG Rocket Salamanders I pulled? Yeah, here it is. This dead card. You would think Wanted can make this card good. You'd think the Snake Eye engine can make this card good. It could not, in fact. I think even Jimothy can testify to this. Wanted is not enough.
It's not enough.
Yeah, man. This card is... I'll rip this card up right now for the camera. No one needs to see the PG card. I can't rip it up. The hollow is making it hard to rip up, but I've crumpled it up. so you guys can see. I don't rate PG. They're trash.
This goes back to like what we were saying about it before. If they release less sets and put more good cards in, like maybe combine those two sets and release them once every 2 months rather than each month.
Yeah.
Then you'd feel a bit more. You'd look forward to opening a sealed product. Do you get what I mean? Right now it's just like, all right, let me see what cards actually need out of this, and I'm just gonna go and buy them on some third-party website because I ain't buying that and having all that. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. This is all stuff that I'm about to throw away. I'm gonna go and start a bonfire with it, like. And I've had these for I don't even know how long. They're just sitting on my desk, and I'm thinking to myself, I can't play these anywhere. I'm not wasting a sleeve on them. I'm just gonna throw them in the bin.
Yeah.
And that's a shame, innit? This is coming out of sealed product. Konami's like the R&D department. I've been working night and day to produce what Yuki, and it's going in the bin. So I don't know.
But yeah, I will say there are good cards in this set. Like, I'm not saying there's no good cards in here. There are good cards in this set, but just I would be happy if we had more like Andrew said, if we had more condensed sets with just more good cards, or like I don't know. I feel like I still don't see why they don't do the rarity of destruction model, the OCG model for every set.
That's a whole different conversation we could have, because I think it's one that everyone wants.
Yeah.
Do you know what?
But
it's Solomon mentioned this, and he said if we did go down that model, if you think about like rarity collection as an example, he was saying like some of those like rarity ones, like I was buying collector's rares for like 88 pence.
Yeah.
Like it does destroy the value in the deck if everything's so highly accessible, and then stores are like, what, like how are they making money, if you get what I mean, if everything's cheap?
I agree, but I don't agree. Do you know why? Because if you even look at rarity collection itself, for example, that was a set that got a lot of values. Like souls were burning out. People were buying sealed products for rarity collection because there was just chance of getting. And the funny thing is, they even could tweak it a bit. Like, for example, like I would be fine if they had a rarity collection, and then the higher rarities were still rare. Like, I wouldn't care if most of the things is everything in rarity collection was like super, and you had only a chance of getting one holo per pack. It's still a good set because you have a chance of getting what you get. So it's like, I do get what he means, and that it does destroy value, but I still think, I mean, the reason fundamentally speaking why stores don't make money from a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh sets is because people won't buy sealed products of most sets. And the reason people won't buy sealed products of most sets is because the sets are bad. If most sets are good and followed that model, and most sets have had good cards, more people would buy sealed products for more sets. Yeah. So it's like they need to make better cards for more sets, and then also just spread the rarities out a bit more. You can still have your high rarity stuff. And this other thing that Konami doesn't do that I don't get, alt arts. They don't do alt arts well enough. Like, as you have like
a whole market there for that, isn't it?
Yeah, like they could so easily, like if they had like if they had just like, imagine they had Bellstar the Black Witch. So it's like you had the regular area of her, but they did a second one, which is an alternate art, maybe make the titties a bit bigger and all of that. And then it's like they make that card as like a 1 in 50 chance to get. That would bump up the value of so many sets. They could easily do that, but they won't. They'll randomly print a second art of her like 8 months down the line when the card is no more relevant, and it's like, why did you wait till now to do it? So,
there's a lot of missed opportunity in sealed product, I think.
Yeah.
Do you think that the reason this does leave quite a rough taste in the mouth, specifically for Amazing, is just because we've just come off the back of arguably the greatest sealed set of all time?
I don't. Just because this is just all too familiar. Do you know what I mean? This happens.
Yeah, that's true, but that too. Like, I do agree with that. But I think just because we've had the rarity collection, like, it's made so many things accessible. And I think with the Fire King deck, the structure deck for that especially, it's like, this is actually a good deck that you can pick up, like, quote unquote 3 structure decks and do all right with it. And then it's like, you have to fork out like what, £800 for the most viable version. Like, what the fuck is that?
yeah.
It's bullshit, man. But Fab, sorry, I cut you off there. What were you gonna say?
No, I was asking you to ask a question because I got confused, but I got the gist of the question at the end.
Yeah.
But no, I agree. I think it's probably less that they saw Rarity Collection do well, do how it did, and then they thought, let's do a bad side. I think it was planned more that
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, I think it was more planned. Funny enough, one of my mates actually even said that the reason why they're doing rarity collections is because they know immediately after they're going to power creep everything. And as you can see, the new strategy of Konami now is instead of having powerful monsters, powerful spell and trap staples, there's a lot more powerful monster staples now. We even just saw there's a monster anti-spell now.
Yeah.
So it's like so it's like you've got the SPs and the Typhons, you've got them, so you can see they're just power creeping stuff. But I think format-wise, what do you think? So I think format-wise, Phantom Nightmare is going to really change up how Yu-Gi-Oh is played. I think we're moving into a phase of Yu-Gi-Oh that a lot of people aren't going to like, where we're going basically back into a tier 0 format, but instead of being a tier 0 format with one deck, it's a tier 0 format with whatever deck can abuse the Snake Eye / Wanted Engine best and Bonfire.
Reminds me of when Brave first came out.
Yeah, I agree. Very similar to that. Yeah, where it was like people. I'll never forget people playing flipping Brave and Branded. That's how like they literally even play. That's how like ridiculous that engine was. Sometimes I was like, we're just gonna play it in everything because it doesn't matter if I've got 3 good normal summons. If I resolve my Brave engine, that's good too. And that's how Wanted feels. But Wanted is a bit different, where it's like it's not negate. It just gives you loads of advantage. Where it's like you go like +6 off a copy of one Wanted. It's flipping ridiculous.
Do you know what? I don't know. I feel like it's gonna be kind of like a tier 0.5 format, but then it also kind of feels like how Cash format was, because you're just gonna get those decks that will abuse Shifter that will be played like, because people don't want to play against Fire Kings or play those cards. They're like, all right, cool. I can't fork out £800 for the Wanted engine. I'm just gonna play Shifter for 28 pence for a playset and just wreck your whole career.
100%.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean? So I do think that's gonna happen. So you're gonna see like, I don't know, Exo Sister and Fluenderies just in and about just because they can play Shifter, and it will win them games.
Yeah. And Kashtira is actually fairly cheap now, I would say. Like, I don't think memories are too expensive. They're probably like 15 each.
The field spells have gone back up to the moon.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, I forgot the field spells are still probably the field.
I think that is partially because Manadium can use it as well.
Oh, of course. But you know, the good thing about Kashtira is you don't really need an extra deck too much. So you could probably so we just had a regional in Birmingham and Kashtira won. So if it's like 100%, you can just play Shifter Deck, play flipping Kashtira, play Flu, and just kind of stay away from the fire nonsense and not have to waste money. And you'll make a Fire King players they very annoyed when they activate Wanted and you change Shifter, and it's like, well,
it's
like playing the rest of your turn. Even on there,
Before we jump into Phantom Nightmare, I do think that with Bonfire, like, I don't think it's as bad as some people are saying. You know, you have to buy this card to play Yu-Gi-Oh in 2024, and I don't think that's true. I think that's completely untrue.
I don't think you have to do it to play Yu-Gi-Oh. I think you have to do it to play competitive and top. That's what I think.
That's not, again, it's not something I necessarily agree with. I think that a lot of top decks will use it, and I think I would be lying if I would say, you know, this card isn't good or it isn't worth picking up, because it's insane. Like, it is nuts. It enables the best engines in the game. But going back off what Andre said, there's always going to be off-meta picks you can choose that aren't just a pile of trap cards. Like, they're actual strategies that have been proven to do well. There's interesting strategies that are coming out that have got a lot of legs as well. I don't know. I think this is why it reminds me of Brave, because while Brave, when it first came out, was in every deck that could play it, there were a lot of decks topping that weren't playing Brave.
So I would say it reminds me of Brave. When I say I agree with you, it reminds me of Brave. I agree with you in terms of it being a fairly large engine that can slot into a lot of decks that highly raises the power, but I just think the power differential is way bigger with the Wanted and Bonfire than it is with the Brave engine. And I think that while, yes, I do agree that it's not only going to be fire decks topping, I think that for the average player, if you want the best chance of topping, like for the average player, there's a reason why there's a meta, right? And if for the average player, if you want to top, looking at the opposite of the meta and trying to counter it just won't work. That's why most players who top ball. So it's like, I think, for example, we'll see top cuts where 75% of the players are playing this, and so that's what when I say it's like you basically have to play this to win. It's like, you can really force a lot of things. And if you're good at the game, one thing that is true is that I don't think this is going to be as dominant as tier. So I don't think it'll be like you literally have no chance of winning. But I do think it'll be low enough that you'll frustrate yourself more and end up wasting more money and time. Because what happens a lot as well, and I've been saying to this a lot of people on the Rescue chat, there's a lot of people in Rescue in the Rescue Discord have been, not Facebook group, been asking like, how do I play Rescue without Wanted? How do I play Rescue or Bonfire? And I keep saying the same thing. Just don't play it. Because you just can't. You can't play this deck without it. Like you're better off spending your money on like a salad core and just playing that, and then saving your money, because what's going to happen is you're going to try and play Rescue without it. Your Rescue deck is going to be worse, and then you're going to pay £5 for local, £20 for event, £5 local, £20 for event, and then after 3 months you've wasted £250. You get it? Whereas if you're just taking your money, bought a cheap salad deck, and then like just save that money and maybe won some events and won some cards, you would have done better. It's kind of back to my original. That's why I feel like you do kind of have to have these engines to play competitively for the most part. I think the average player, I don't think they're going to do too well, because I can't think of one deck, even Castillo Shift, I can't think of one deck that's really going to be great next format that's not using Wanted or Bonfire. I don't know if you guys can correct me, but I've been testing a lot. And
I'll be honest, I haven't been testing enough of the upcoming format to comment, but yeah. Andre,
agree.
here you
I was going to say I agree. And I think this is just from personal experience. I tend to play off meta picks just because I don't like my cards getting hit on ban lists and having to always invest in meta cards. But it literally makes the difference. Like I was at the Birmingham Regional. I went X2, Guinness, and home, like in that order. But like I lost to a Blackwing player because he summoned SP Little Knight. Yeah. Like literally, that was it. That was the defining moment. I wouldn't say I was ahead in terms of card advantage, but if he never resolved SP and I went to my next turn, he was dying. Like Borgabird, I would have just battered him. But he resolved SP Little Light, and that was the difference between me and him. I didn't have SP, he did, and he won the game. Do you get what I mean? And I sat there afterwards, and I was thinking about my Guinness, and then I started thinking, like it's literally fine margins in it. I'm gonna have to go and buy that card if I want to be able to like wholeheartedly compete at this level, because everyone else is, isn't it? Like I'm at a disadvantage. Or I just accept that. And I was just thinking, well, do I enter a regional again? Because I'm not buying SP Little Night tomorrow or today.
I feel like this is well, carry on, sorry, finish, Andre.
I was just literally going to say that, and that's kind of like why I had my drink and went home.
I feel like this segues really well into one of your questions, Dan, that you were going to do for our new section. I feel like
definitely.
Yeah, do you want to lay it out and then drop the question? Because I feel like this is a very good point for it.
Well, yeah, there's quite a few sections, quite a few questions in particular, but I do think going off the back of these, you know what, I'm just going to jump into it. So, 2024, new year, new me, new podcast, same podcast, different sections. So, basically, we're going to be trying a new section out, and it's going to be asking, I guess, to do is maybe a little bit of like an icebreaker, and I've asked Andre if he'll be the guinea pig, and he's very kindly offered to. So, what I'm going to do for you, Andre, Fabs hasn't seen these questions. I'm going to fire off a quick section of questions. It'll be one option or the other. Take as much time as you want to think about the answer. You say one or the other. If you can't pick one, or you don't want to pick one, so if it's like both or neither, then we'll move on, and anyone who is drinking will have a tipple, so to speak. So it's not inclusively a drinking game. It's just more of like a into the mind's eye, if you will. Shout out to Nori and DJ Envy from Drink Champs, who I completely stole this section from. Big up. So Andre, if you're ready, shall we get into it? So the first question I've got for you is rogue or meta?
Rogue.
You look like you had to think about that more than I thought you would.
Yeah. The reason is because I'm not opposed to playing meta, but I have to enjoy it. And what I find with meta decks is I feel like I'm funneled into playing the deck in a certain way because it's the most optimal way, where rogue strategies are a little bit less explored, and I feel like you can express yourself a little bit more. Just like what Babs was saying about Rescue Ace, like you just need a wanted engine. Like it is what it is, and like it's just a fact. So that's why I tend to play. That's why I appreciate rogue more. But there is some, like I played Libilox Tri Brigade when it was meta, and I enjoyed that deck. So rogue. I was
gonna say, like, long time fan that follows your channel will know that you're not a stranger to a meta deck.
I play meta decks. Like I just need to enjoy it. Do you know what I mean? Like if there's a lot of
I hear you.
If there's a lot of decision trees in a meta deck, I'll tend to play Whereas if it's a little bit more redefined, then I'm just like, I'm not really interested.
Yeah. So building off the back of that, combo or control? Remember, you don't have to pick one of the options. It can be both or neither.
I'm gonna go with both.
Both, really?
I'll take a sip to that as well.
What makes you say both?
Because there's decks that have an element of both. Or there's decks that have one thing, and some decks that have another, and some decks that have both that I just enjoy. Like, I do enjoy control, but I also enjoy comboing. Do you know what I mean? I'm not predetermined, where I've got a few friends that prefer like one or the other, just because they'd rather use their energy to think about their interactions as opposed to like playing through interruption, if you get what I'm saying. And I like to do both. That's why I play a load of different decks. But yeah.
Fair enough. Fabs, you know what? I'm gonna put these questions to you as well, because I feel like you're just kind of sitting back and watching me and Andre get on with it.
Well, I was distracted by someone randomly asking for Cyberse cards, and I was like, "Are you playing Math Mech?" And they're like, "No, it's for Cashdero." Yeah, he was like, "I need a G Golem." He was like, "I need a G Golem and a Link Spider." I was like, Math Mech is crap now. So it's back then. He's like, Cyberse package of cash. I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, sure." Yeah.
So Fabs, I'll put the question to you: combo or control? Or both or neither.
When we say control, what are we defining as control?
So just your bog standard control, not mid range. Like,
okay, yeah. Then I'd say neither, and I'd say mid range.
Fair enough. I was debating whether putting mid range on as well, but I was just going to put mid-range.
I guess if I had to pick between the two, I would pick combo because it's just more unfair. But definitely I'd say mid range is where it's at for me.
Fair enough. Now this one's not as competitive based, but I thought it'd be a good one. Fallen of Albaz Law or Visas Law?
Albaz Law. Visas Law's trash.
Yeah, Albaz Law. There's a girl involved, there's a love interest, there's a happy ending, the ride off into the sunset.
Yeah, the spin-offs.
This seemingly cool guy, but he's not cool, and he's got something wrong with his arm that he needs to get a doctor to attend to. So
Albaz clean sweep.
Easily.
They need to make that anime, man. They really do.
Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah. So, I think this is going to be one that I'd be interested to hear your point on in particular, Fabs. Yu-Gi-Oh! Or PC/console gaming?
That is a hard question.
And when I say PC gaming, I don't mean playing Dueling Book.
I think it would be PC gaming for me. If I had to end up picking between the two, yeah. I like Yu-Gi-Oh! But if I had to pick one, it'd be PC gaming because, yeah,
that's where your love started, isn't it? Big league, man.
League and all of that, and then even
RuneScape and whatnot.
Playing loads of Baldur's Gate 3 recently, and that's looking incredible. Yeah.
What about you, Andre?
Gaming without a shadow of a doubt. I didn't even have to think about it. Like,
really?
Little fun fact: like I used to have a little gaming channel before. Yu-Gi-Oh! Channel.
Oh, you did say this, yeah?
I'm an avid gamer. Like I've got PS5, Xbox, PC, Nintendo Switch, PlayStation Vita.
Wow, it's doesn't stop.
Listen, I'm serious. Like my wife knows. Like when we go away, you need to give me an hour before I go to bed so I can just do some handheld gaming.
Yeah.
I love it. Now back to the Yu-Gi-Oh! Question. These are both ones that both archetypes that get new players into the game. Heroes or Dark Magician?
I hate Heroes. Heroes trash.
If
Strauss.
I can't believe you're picking Dark Magician over Heroes, bro.
I'm going with Heroes.
Yeah, you can pick both or neither, by the way. It doesn't have to be one of these options. If you absolutely despise both of these options, Fabs.
Nah, I think Dark Magician as a deck is actually really cool. Like, again, so if you look at, I have Dark Magician profiles on my channel. Like,
yeah,
which is quite cool. I think Heroes is Flipping Strauss sucks, man. F Strauss.
Yeah. Hey, you're going with Heroes, Andre?
Yep, just because it reminds me of a computer game, innit? I like big monsters that hit hard, so
yeah. I'd probably go Heroes as well for what it's worth. Takes me back to my youth. I was never a Yugi guy, man. Jaden was done. But anyway, expensive staples or expensive deck cores?
As in, what do I prefer?
Like if you had to have one, like, do you know what I mean? Like, would you rather there be expensive staples and cheap deck cores, or cheap staples and expensive deck cores? In terms of meta,
I think for me, I'd prefer the staples to be more expensive, just because deck cores tend to last for a short amount of time than staples. So
that's a fair answer.
Yeah.
You'd feel like you were getting your money's worth more.
I would say the same as well. For a man that has quite a few deck cores, I know that inflation has hit my deck cores, and now they're worth a McDonald's Happy Meal. So I'm gonna go with expensive staples.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Fair enough. We've only got a couple more left, so I'll fly through these. I feel like I know what this one: Edison format or Goat format.
I don't play either of those formats. I think they're both...
Neither. Babs is going with neither.
For me personally, they're both quite dry. Like, I like modern day Yu-Gi-Oh. So,
that's fair. I can respect it. Andre, what about you?
I'd say Edison.
Do you dabble?
I haven't dabbled fully, but I do have a Gladiator Beast deck that I keep looking at.
Let's go.
Yeah, I'd say Edison. Goat's too slow for me. Like,
it's too sacky, isn't it?
Yeah, that's just Edison.
I feel like this is going to be a very easy one for to answer. XO with a deck that you hate, or X4 with a deck that you love?
I'm gonna go X4 with a deck that I love. Straight up.
My God, the integrity is strong.
If I'm not enjoying it, I'm not playing it. That's why I don't
hear you.
a deck. So it's just
yeah, I'm all the way on the other side. X over deck that I hate. I did X over deck that I love for years. I used to be the rogue guy as well, and I like winning. So I'll play a deck at it. Yeah, for me, I'll play. I'm in a fortunate situation now where Rescue Ace is a deck that I really like, and it happens to be good. But
yeah,
I'll play a deck I hate. Just
yeah. Both of these mentalities are very respectable, by the way. Like, one is not better than the other. Do you hear that, listeners? And the final question that I have for you: locals or YCS/nationals? In terms of what do you prefer?
This was an easy answer for me, but I'll let Andre go first.
I'm gonna say neither. You know.
Neither.
Yeah.
How come?
I don't know. I think my approach to it's different. For me, it's not just Yu-Gi-Oh! It's all the stuff around it. So I quite like locals because I get to see people that I would generally chat to anyway. But then when it is a YCS or like a national or something, those same people is the people that I would go with anyway. And
yeah.
The Yu-Gi-Oh! Is probably the smallest part of the whole experience, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, with the bigger event, I definitely agree with that.
And it's the thing that gets, all the other stuff that gets spoken about the most after it's happened anyway. Do you remember when I got sacked by Joel and Lockbird, or do you know what I mean? That does happen, but like it's not the thing.
You'd be like, do you remember when this went down on the Friday night or whatever?
Yeah. So that, for me anyway, that's a thing.
So yeah, okay. What about you, folks?
It's big events. Even though I do like locals and stuff, I think that I've had loads of really good experiences with big events going. I really do like the whole kind of traveling. Like, I'm not a traveling person naturally or anything like that, but the one that always goes in my head that I had such a great time was YCS. Was it YCS? It was Belgium. It was an event in Belgium last November. I don't know if it was a YCS or not. I think it was, but it was just really good. We went, it was like 8 of us all went. We stayed in like this like apart hotel thing, whatever. And
Oh, is
funny
this-
thing is,
I think you've mentioned this on the podcast before, right? It was like you guys drink a load of.
yeah, like it was so, and it's funny. Yeah, funny enough, the part of it that was fun was not the YCS. So maybe I'm not answering the question well, because the YCS was the worst part of the event. None of us did particularly well anything, but like just like the memories and like chilling with the mates and having a good time. That was just so fun, and it's just like it's locals is fun, but I can skip locals, especially recently. It's like a lot of times I can't bother to go locals. I just don't want to go. It's like play decks that I'm not that interested in right now, and it's not a real format, so it feels like I'm wasting time and money. But I do like going to big events with the mates, and also like the kind of, it feels like a big thing. Like there's all these people in the room. I'm trying to show that I'm a sick player and all that. Like so I do really enjoy it.
That's a fair answer. I suppose it's like a bit of like that. Do you prefer like going to the pub every week, or do you prefer going out on like big events with the boys kind of thing, like lads holidays? I suppose it's like that kind of question.
Yeah.
So that was the new section. Drop us a comment or an inbox if you thought it was good, or if you thought it was bad, or if you didn't think anything about it at all, because interaction's nice. So I'm not sure how we are doing for time, but let's dip our toes back into Phantom Nightmare.
Yeah.
So what are we thinking in terms of the cards in the set that aren't Populous, that aren't Promethean, that have also been released?
There are a huge amount of cards coming out that are really cool though. It's a bit like, it reminds me of Kashira format, where Kashira was suppressing all of these really interesting archetypes that got support, and then after Kashira came out, the problem was it was like a year after. It was Kashira and Tia, and it was like a year after now, and so all these things got power cramps. But Aroma cards, they're going to be very good. The Draco Slayer cards, they are quite good. Goatee gets good support. Goblin cards are quite good. The new Magispector cards are good. The new the new Sacred Beast cards are kind of okay. The new White cards are going to be good. The new Voiceless Voice cards are going to be good. So it's like, I do like a lot of the support in here. I think basically we've got a whole bunch of new Rogue and Tier 2 decks that we can play around with. I think one deck that is going to have a really interesting matchup into Fire King, that I'm going to just spoil it now, hopefully someone figures out, is Magispector. I think Fire King will get rattled by a Magispector, because in case you guys don't know, every Magispector card, apart from the new Link, which is also cracked, has this amazing effect that says cannot be targeted or destroyed by card effects. Every single Magispector card. Every single main deck Magispector monster says. Oh wait, I guess apart from the Draco Slayer one that searches a field spell, which is also busted. But yeah, every single one. So it's like normal summon Bambuku, you're not imperming that. I don't care if your Fire King deck pops like 16 times a turn, because you can't destroy Magispector cards. So I do think Magispector has a very good Fire King matchup, and it'll be interesting to see if that like comes out a bit. And then it has a new Link, which is literally, I think the Link goes +4 by itself.
Yeah,
the new Link
Link's crazy.
It puts 2 cards in the extra deck, then adds 2 from the deck to the hand or something.
It sets them.
Yeah. And then also every single Magispector, well not every, but pretty much every Magispector card says when special summon search. So it's like you go like +4. Basically, it sets you up for like a pen summon 4 or pen summon 2, and then every card is going to search when a pen summons as well. So yeah, Magispector is an interesting one to look at. It is a pen deck, but
so that's your one to watch for Phantom Nightmare.
I think it has a good Fire King matchup, but it's between that and Goatee are my ones to watch. I'd say I think Goatee is a shifter deck that is good.
Yeah, I've been looking into Goatee, and I seen Jacob the other day, and he was playing Goatee.
Was he?
Jacob? Yeah. He had some Goatee cards, and I know that he's been on that deck for a while, and he's probably as excited as I am to see the card. No,
Stanbridge.
Stanbridge. You are right. Yeah. Yes, you are right, because I even remember when it initially came out, back in TL. This is Pope, was it? And I remember he was playing it. Yeah, I have my Goatee core over there.
So and do you know what? I think for Phantom Nightmare, I feel like it's not an amazing set, but I feel like Konami should do more sets like this, where, like Fab said, there's a lot of stuff to look forward to that is generally 100%. Good. Do you got what I mean? Like, whereas like I'm looking at Maze of Millenia, I'm like, I'm not feeling any of these cards really. Whereas Phantom Nightmare, there's quite a bit of choice there and opportunity to kind of like, oh, this could be interesting. Whereas I just feel like Maze, it's just like, So I am actually looking forward to the set, and I do think it's gonna do pretty well.
Yeah, think it's a really interesting set, but I can't believe, Fabs, that you left off the best of those archetypes that you were listing off.
I'll take a sip
I think
for you. I'll take a sip for you then.
Which one did I not mention?
Personally, I feel like you left it off to spite me in it. But it's cool.
Which
Yubel, bro.
You know what? I thought Yubel's not this. I thought it was the set after.
Yubel's Phantom Nightmare. That it had support announced today.
Oh,
in
of course.
Legacy
Okay,
of Destruction.
You know
initial...
what? My bad. You're right. I actually genuinely not even cope. I think Yubel has potential as the new Gren Marju deck. I think it has potential as that. Like I actually do think I've tested a lot with Yubel as well. So you're right. My bad. I think Yubel's
It's definitely a very interesting deck. Like I've been very excited for, GX Kid. Like Yubel was one of my favorite characters. I've been testing the deck since the support was announced. Like there's a lot of interesting builds, especially with the new stuff in Legacy of Destruction, that you can just put out like basically just unchained boards with just a little bit more extension and extra push, and it just, like makes it harder for you to die. I'm not saying it's as good as Unchained because it's not, but like a lot of the same engine pieces it can utilize because all the support is generic for Fiends. You can play it as a very good control shell where it's like almost like a Grand Magic deck, like you said, Fabs. And it's got the best super poly target in the game.
Yeah, that's busted.
Literally says Yubel wants the +1+ anything.
Yeah,
like, the only deck that has like super poly target close to that is like Metal Foes, and even that is not good. Like I think Yubel has potential, definitely.
It genuinely does. I've been saying this to anyone who'll listen to me. I'm planning on picking up the Yubel core, and I'm probably going to play it. I'm going to one trick it for a kind of thing. And with the new support that was announced as of today, it's looking good. And I think with anime decks, they're always worth picking up because you always know there's going to be a decent bit of support.
Yeah. And this is the thing about Yubel. Like again, it's like I don't think like it's not like I think we're gonna walk into like a tier 0 Yubel.
Oh no way, not at all.
But like genuinely, like the cards are just quite good. Like I think the biggest problem obviously is when you have loads of high level monsters, that's always a bit of an issue. But there's a lot of just really good cards. Like they're just every card. Like it's now, if you want to have a Yubel on your field, you're gonna get a Yubel on your field. Pretty much every card, just some different version of put Yubel on your field somehow.
Yeah. It's got 10 1-card starters. Which is good for any deck.
Who would have thought that Yubel becomes more flipping consistent than like pure rescue? It's like
it's insane. But yeah, I think Phantom Nightmare is genuinely shaping up to be a very good set, and I think if they can get the rarities right on things, like you only really need to make either Populous or the Promethean Princess a secret rare. Like, come on now. I think if they can get the rarities on the head, I think this genuinely has potential to be one of the best sets of the year. Like from a player's perspective, in terms of the new decks, because a lot of the new decks are very interesting. And the voiceless voice cards, like Fabs has put a video up on his channel, they're insane. I played against that matchup on Edo Pro quite a lot, and it's very hard to get through.
Oh yeah. I will say I agree with you that this is probably going to be the best set of the year, but I hope not. Because if it is, then Konami has no intention of improving. So
I get what you mean. I
hope it's not, but I think you're right. I think this is probably going to be one of the best sets. Voiceless Voice in OCG as well has been consistently like a tier 2, tier just below basically Viking, like since it's come out. So
it strikes me as a deck that's one spot of support away from being broken.
Yeah, like the main thing holding it back is just there's not that many good Light Dragon Warrior Ritual monsters. That's actually the main thing. So you got Sora Face, you got Novox that they just released. The new Saphira is okay, and then Odd Eyes Pendulum Graph. That's it. If there's like, but the problem is like, they're not going to randomly release another Light Dragon or Warrior Ritual monster, which basically means unless it's directly supporting that, we have to wait for support. But yeah, I think that deck has a lot of potential. So. Very interesting deck. But yeah, I think as well, fact the set immediately after that. So yeah, Legacy of Destruction?
I think so.
Legacy of Destruction. Also, we're seeing some of the cards being announced for Arca. So like you said, like the Yubel cards and such are going to be really cool, and I think it's going to be interesting to see how the format switches up. Then the nice thing about TCG versus OCG is that our format doesn't exactly follow theirs. So like when this time last year, when like Silent Force and stuff came out, basically Viking just started dominating the format, and then Rescue was in the format a bit, and Silent Force was in the format a bit. Well, that might not happen here, so we might get something interesting happening. I do think. In fact, I'll do this as a quick question because I have my idea for my 3 decks to watch. Not new decks, but 3 decks that I think are going to be good enough to handle the format. And so I want to see what you guys think. So for me, I think Kashtira is one of the obvious ones because it's a shifter deck. I think Branded is another one. I think Branded is really, really good right now. And it's another deck that just has a good Fire King matchup. Like, you slap down a Dragoon, they're going to struggle. You slap down a Mirror Jade, they're going to struggle. You slap down a Masquerade, they're going to burn themselves to death. So I think those two are going to be really, really good. And then also I think Flunder. I think the shifter decks, you can play shifter decks.
Yeah,
Also Featherstorm, Fire King has to play into Frost. Like, they don't have a choice, so you're going to be seeing you're getting Featherstorm every game against flipping. Yeah, those are my 3 ones. And Frost just got reprinted too. Konami knew what they were doing.
Yes.
Yeah. What are you guys? Your 3 decks to watch? They can be new decks and old decks for the new format.
Andrew, I'll let you. Yeah.
I was gonna say, definitely Fluunderies. Like I've seen a list where somebody's playing the level 4. I don't even know which one it is, but the level 4 Harpy Lady, just so they can Frost. I mean, they can Featherstorm from their hand, and it like it's ignorant, and it's crazy. But yeah, definitely Fluunderies. I've seen some wild Ice Barrier Sprite.
Oh god.
Ice Barrier lets Sprite make Toad again really consistently, right?
Yeah. And Ice Barrier, all their cards are floodgates for some reason. I don't understand the design philosophy behind it, but it just works.
I don't think anyone does.
Yeah. I just don't get it. It's wild. And I was gonna say, just cash, like similar to what Fab said. Cash is just it's shifter in it, and
yeah,
the monsters are just good as an independent entity. So yeah,
the houses, well, all of them are pretty strong.
Yeah. I've even seen people playing. What's the biggest one? Is it Ogre?
Yeah, they're playing Ogre again now.
Yeah, like looking at the top card of your deck and like getting rid of like a talent or something. It's mad. Yeah, it's mad.
Yeah, Ogre's a good boy, man. Shout out to Ogre. I think my picks. Do you know what? It's probably cope from my end. I'm not going to put it on there, but I do genuinely think I'm going to put Fiend piles in this deck because they all tend to do the same thing, like Unchained decks, Labyrinth decks, like Yugioh in particular has a very good Fire King matchup because everything floats. But I think Unchained's still like a really strong deck. It's obviously lost some of the consistency, but it's got a very decent matchup into Fire King. The only problem is it does tend to fall to a lot of the cards that Fire King as well. So, but I think with the right pilot, Unchained can definitely go the way. Sprite, I think Sprite can just put an Ibly on a Fire King board, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Like if they haven't a hard open normal Ponics, it's like, okay, so I can't search the island and pop the Ibly then. Also, Sprite as well is just a deck that has a lot of tech space. Is what I'm looking for. You can play it with Runic, you can play it with Live Twin, you can play it with I don't know, other cards that are level 2, and probably just cash again. Like I say, I'm not putting Flunder in there because I don't like Flunder.
We all want Flunder to go, but
not me. I like Flunder. I don't want to play it. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to play Flunder.
I was going to say you like it. Why don't you?
I'll flip a table. Like, I don't want to play it, but I like it.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Little birds in it. Just like M-Pen's a pretty sick monster, but I hate that the deck is just Floodgate Turbo.
Yeah.
And it always has been, and it always will be. But you know what? Sometimes that is what you need to do.
Yeah, it is. On that lovely note, we're going to wrap up this episode of the Yugioh Show. Thank you all for watching. It's going to be a very interesting format, so we're definitely going to be chatting to you guys again soon. And make sure you sub to our channel, sub to Sanctum Squad, sub to Jimothy, sub to Fabs, and we'll talk to you all soon. Peace.